I'm Randall Phillips, and this is the Plumber's Philosophy. So, in this segment, I think that's what we'll call it, not installment, we'll call it segment. Yes. In this segment, I wanted to continue with the story of reading Charlie Hill introducing me to Robert Kiyosaki, uh, Robert Kiyosaki's interview that Charlie Hill got me involved with led me to buying the audio of, I got the books in order: Rich Dad Poor Dad, Rich Dad's Cash Flow Quadrant, and Rich Dad's Guide to Investing. Those three books changed my life forever. Amazing. And they pointed the way to other books. In fact, here's another book. So, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Got that right? Okay. All right. That led to this book, and I'm very proud of this one. This is kind of fancy. Oh man, you see it? Ooh, Think and Grow Rich, the gold embossed edition. Oh snap! So, when being introduced to those books, and then Robert, so here's the timeline. Charlie Hill introduced me to Robert Kiyosaki. Robert Kiyosaki's writings introduced me to Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People, as well as Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, which added a whole nother dimension of thought processes to my repertoire. And not only did I read those books, but because of the excitement that I felt about this new information that I got, new information that I received. Try to use proper grammar, I get excited though. With this new information that I received, I wanted to share it with my plumbing compatriots, the guys I did plumbing with. And I was like, because I knew a lot of different plumbers who had plumbing companies and that. And so this information that I had, I was like, man, you got to read this stuff. It's amazing. And, some of them read it. So a lot of them, were like, yeah, I hear what you're saying. And I understand. They don't have to be excited because I was. It's okay. But the point is, I immediately start implementing these different things into my work. One of the main things that I started doing was Robert Kiyosaki said that if you're in a business where, excuse me, if you're in a business where everything is tied to your physical labor, you own a job. I was like, wow. And I had to think about that. I was like, man, he said, yeah. Because a real business can operate if you're there or if you aren't there. And that's another example of having leverage. So for people who are small business owners, what I'm trying to encourage you to do, just like Robert Kiyosaki said, is be in a position where think of yourself from the beginning of starting your business or where you are in your business, if it's been around for a while, of putting yourself in a position where you don't have to be there. And sometimes it's hard. I'm thinking of one person that comes to my mind right now that because of what they do and the way that they feel emotionally about the business, it can only go so far because they don't want to let go and let some other people be responsible for it. And the main thing that I hear, for example, is, well, nobody does it like me, so I'm gonna do it myself. That may be true to an extent. However, what I will say is, if you have a standardized way of training, like for instance, if you are in the restaurant business, McDonald's, Subway, any of these people, these big companies that let you buy in, they have a manual about how to operate. And if you follow that manual, it's like a recipe. When you do what they say in the recipe, you're going to get the results that they know are going to work because it's not a fluke. So this is something that plagues me as a person who, one of the other things that I enjoy is eating healthy food. I mean, as you can see, I like to eat a lot. Oh man, yeah. So in the restaurant business, restaurant business is tough, but I'm involved with specifically the vegan consumer side of restauranting. Now, for me, I'd say, and this is just something that came to my mind. In that particular part of the restaurant industry, the price point is way higher than regular restauranting, for lack of a better word. And it should be because it's more specialized. However, I've experienced a lot of people who've had or aspire to have a vegan restaurant because they learn some information about some things that might enhance their health, and they get excited, and therefore they want to start a business. They may not have necessarily ever been involved with a business like that, or spent the time and effort to really get deep into the culture of that business. They get inspired, they get some money, open a business, and then go for it. And typically it doesn't work because it's more to it than getting some money, getting an idea, going for it. It's a recipe. Just like one of the things that irritates customers is if you have a recipe that makes them come to your establishment, but then you change it. And the recipe doesn't have to necessarily be food. So for instance, and I'm not going to name these names because I want to get in trouble, but there's a grocery store that I love that was known for when you would ask for items, you would say to the person working in the aisles, "Hey, I'm looking for such and such." They would stop what they were doing, take you to where it was, and then now you know. They're not doing that anymore. That one thing was huge. They were bought by another company, and so pretty much like a couple of months after, that stuff was out the window. They were like, "Yeah, we ain't doing that." But when you were involved with this place that was a higher price point, your mind associated that service with higher value. Therefore, when you spent more money, you were like, "Okay, this is what I do. No problem." When that changes, which is a recipe, the consumer will say, they start thinking about it. And I'm not saying in your business, sometimes you need to change things that maybe don't work, or, also another thing that you learn when reading good business and personal development books is that everybody isn't your customer. But if there's a core thing that you do that has worked for your business, that's another tip as a business coach that I want to add to your notes in your journal. Because a lot of times people change. At first they had a certain way that they worked and maneuvered. They were excited, they were pumped, and then the reality of the fact that they own a job set in, and then the excitement and pumpness went away. And then they talk about the customers do this and the customers do that. And it's really not the customers, it's training. And even if you have an established business, like I'm a business coach, but I'm always working on training. In fact, I just bought some training, cost me $150. I didn't know it was going to cost that because I was like, man, this looks like some good training. And then they gave me the, sales presentation. I was like, yeah. And they said, oh yeah, this fee per month. Yeah, we need that all up front for the whole year. I was like, okay, it was valuable. So, and I'm glad that I did. I'm not going to say who it is because I need to get endorsed before I do that. So anyway, With that, I'm going to stop this video, and we got another one coming up. This is Randall Phillips, and this is the Plumber's Philosophy. Take care.